There's a version of adulthood where nobody knows you're actually struggling because you are still performing too well to be believed. You still answer the email, you still show up to the meeting, you still smile when people ask you how you're doing, you still meet the deadlines, you make the calls, you send the invoices, you keep the appointment, you remember everybody else's thing, and somehow you look like a woman who has it all handled, right? Meanwhile, your real life is backstage fighting for its life. The laundry is plotting, the unread emails are breeding, the mail is sitting there looking expensive, the budget is giving, we need to talk, right? Your room has started to reflect your mental state, which is rude because nobody asked it to be that honest. And when people see you functioning, they assume that you're fine, right? But functioning is not the same as being fine. It's not the same as being okay. That is what we're talking about today. The grown woman performance of looking okay while privately knowing your life does not feel okay behind the scenes. You know? Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kiara Ivy, aka Kiara the Concrete Rose, aka your lifestyle design bestie. And around here, we talk about lifestyle design, adulting, soft life strategy, personal growth, and just building a life that actually fits who you are. Okay. Today's conversation comes from my book, Adulting Is Ghetto, specifically the chapter Functional in Public, Falling Apart in Private. All right. And this one is personal because I think a lot of smart, capable, high functioning women are quietly living two lives. There's the public life where you're competent, responsive, helpful, professional, funny, reliable, and seemingly fine. Then there's the private life where you're tired, you're behind, you're overstimulated, you're avoiding things, you're letting little things pile up and wondering why basic life maintenance just feels like it has you in a chokehold, right? The gap between these two lives can get really heavy because when your public performance is strong enough, your private struggle becomes easy to hide. And sometimes the person you're hiding it from is everybody, including yourself. There's a part in Adulting is Ghetto where I talk about how this can look. And it can look like being highly competent at work and deeply behind at home, or being the strong friend, or the reliable employee, or the smart one, or the capable one, and in all of this while secretly feeling like your basic life maintenance is quietly mopping the floor with your ass. Okay, that is the whole tension. The outside version of you looks capable. The inside version of your life feels unsupported. And those two things can exist at the same time. A lot of adults are not falling apart in a loud, obvious way. They are not having a dramatic movie scene breakdown in the middle of the grocery store. For a lot of women, falling apart looks much quieter. It looks like making it through the workday and then sitting in your car for 20 minutes because going inside means facing the house, the dishes, the laundry, the unopened mail, the 47 tiny little decisions still waiting on you, right? It looks like being praised at work while your personal inbox is a haunted house. It looks like being the friend everybody calls for advice while you have 3 life admin tasks you've been avoiding for weeks. It looks like paying enough attention to what the world can see while the private parts of your life slowly become harder to look at. And because you're still functioning, you start minimizing it. You tell yourself it's not that bad. But sometimes not that bad really means I have gotten very good at hiding the bad. That is the problem with high functioning chaos. It can disguise itself as maturity. It can look like responsibility. It can even look like success. But if your life only looks handled from the outside, and behind the scenes, you're constantly overwhelmed and ashamed and exhausted, or you're one inconvenience away from shutting down, that is not stability. That's performance. This pattern hits capable women hard because capability can become a trap. When you are used to being the one who figures it out, people stop asking you if you need anything. When you're used to being the reliable one, people assume you're properly resourced, right? When you're good at presenting well, people forget presentation is not the same thing as peace. You know, if you've been praised for being strong or smart or independent or dependable or the one who always handles it, it can feel embarrassing to admit that your own life feels messy because now you're not just overwhelmed, you're confused, right? You start thinking, how am I this smart and still behind? How am I able to help other people solve their problems and still avoid my own paperwork? You know, how can I be so productive in one area and so chaotic in another? That question can turn into shame if you're not careful. Here's the truth. Being capable does not mean you are supported. You can be brilliant and still need systems. You can be ambitious and still need your rest. You can be strong and still need help from other people. You can be responsible and still need margin. You could be the person everybody counts on and still be quietly tired of being counted on. That does not make you fake. It just makes you human. The problem is not that you're secretly failing. The problem may be that your life has been depending on your ability to perform instead of giving you enough support to actually feel steady. And the danger of being too functional is that people don't always believe your struggle until you stop functioning. So as long as you're still producing, responding, smiling, right? Paying enough of the bills, meeting enough of the deadlines that you have to meet, showing up enough, you know, the world assumes the system's working. But a system that only works because you're constantly overriding your exhaustion is not a healthy system and is definitely not a sustainable one. It's a fragile one. And deep down, you know it. You know when your I'm good is really just public relations. Like you know when the clean outfit is hiding the chaotic bedroom. You know when the professional email is coming from a woman who has not eaten a real meal today. You know when your calendar looks organized, but your nervous system does not. You know when the version of you that other people trust feels disconnected from the version of you that has to live for your real life after the laptop closes. That gap is important to name because the longer you ignore it, the more your private life starts to feel like proof that something is wrong with you. But it may not be proof that something is wrong with you. It may just be proof that something is missing. Support, maybe. Structure, perhaps. Margin is missing. You need recovery. An honest conversation is missing from this. A system that does not require you to be at your best every single day, that's what's missing. That is a very different diagnosis. One of the hardest parts of being functional in public and falling apart in private is how it messes with your self-trust. Because other people may see the polished version, but you know the backstage version. You know what is overdue. You know what is sitting unopened, right? You know what has been avoided. You know what corner of the house you refuse to make eye contact with. You know what you keep saying you're going to handle this weekend, even though this weekend has been carrying that assignment for 6 months. And after a while, the gap between what people think you are handling and what you know you are avoiding starts to create internal tension, right? You start feeling like a fraud in your own life. Not because you are actually a fraud, but because the public evidence says she has it together, while the private evidence says, ma'am, we need a come to Jesus meeting. That tension is exhausting. And shame makes it worse because shame does not help you clean the room or open the mail or check the account or ask for help or make the appointment. Shame usually just makes you hide. And hiding makes the private chaos feel heavier. That is why the goal cannot be to simply perform better. The goal has to be telling the truth earlier. The truth that changes things is this: you do not need to look more together. You need to be more supported. That is the shift, because a lot of us keep trying to like upgrade the performance piece, right? We want to look calmer, look more organized. We want to look consistent and disciplined. You know, we want to look like we have our grown woman life to get together, right? But looking better is not the same as living better. If the inside of your life is still overwhelmed, hidden, unsupported, and just held together by adrenaline, then the image is not the issue. The infrastructure is. So instead of asking, how do I keep looking like I have it together? Ask, what would actually make my life feel less heavy behind the scenes? That question is where the real work starts. Because maybe you need a system for what keeps slipping. Maybe you need to stop saying yes to things that keep draining you. Maybe you need more margin because your life has no room for real life to happen. Maybe you need help, even if asking makes you feel awkward. Maybe you need to stop pretending that your body can keep carrying a schedule your nervous system has been rejecting for months. Hmm? Maybe you need to admit that the private version of your life deserves care too, not just the public version, not just the presentable version, right? The real woman, the one who lives there after the performance ends. So here's the reset I would like for you to try. Complete this sentence. People probably think I have blank together, but behind the scenes, I'm struggling with blank. Do not make it cute. Do not make it vague. I want you to tell the truth and be honest. People probably think I have my career together, but behind the scenes, I'm struggling with my health. That's an example. Once you name the gap, ask one more question. What would support look like here? Not perfection, support. Would support look like a weekly reset, a bill calendar, a cleaning routine, a conversation, a doctor's appointment, a boundary? What is it? Because the private chaos does not need more shame. It needs light, it needs language, and it needs a next step. Okay? So if this video felt a little too familiar, I want you to know this. You are not the only one looking functional in public while privately falling apart. A lot of people are performing adulthood while quietly wondering why life feels so damn hard to maintain. But you deserve a life that feels better behind the scenes too. Okay? It doesn't need to be perfect or impressive. It doesn't need to be polished, right? But it just needs more support, and you need to be more honest, less dependent on, your ability to keep looking okay when you're actually not. So I wrote Adulting is Ghetto for this exact kind of private chaos, and I'll link it in the description. And it has the full framework. The book goes deeper into the invisible labor, the adulting avatars, the chaos tax, and then my steady method for building a life that does not require those last minute miracles every week. So tell me in the comments, where do you look functional in public but feel like you're falling apart in private? Is it work? Is it home? Is it your money, health, relationships, your emotional life? Drop it below if you feel comfortable sharing. And if this resonated with you, please like it, subscribe, and stick around, because around here, we're getting our lives all the way together, y'all. Okay?